Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Alina, if you do not know, and today I am going to do a video about all the books you should read if you haven't already. These books need to be on your list of 2019 because that's how good they are. So let me just start the video. So the first book is probably one of my favorite books. So Libba Bray is one of my favorite authors. Her book, the Diviner series, is my absolute favorite series ever, and I have all the books in the series in multiple editions from the Diviner series. If you haven't read that, read that. Anyways, besides that, not many people know of her of this book, Going Bovine, by Libba Bray, and I found this book. So I was around after I read the Diviners, whenever it came out years ago. I loved it, so I'm like, what else does this author have? So at the library that was currently near my house had this book, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. I'm not sure what it's gonna be about, so I read it and I loved it. So basically it's about a 16-year-old boy named Cameron who discovers that he has the mad cow disease. I forgot the proper term for that disease, but whatever. So basically he finds out he's going to die, right? And so he's in the hospital, and and basically a fairy comes and tells him, if you go to this person, I forgot, the name is like Professor X or something, I can't remember right now, but I should probably have read through it, but if you meet this doctor, he has a cure for you, so you won't die, right? And so basically him and this other boy that's in the hospital named Gonzo, he is a midget, a little person, and basically him and Gonzo go on this journey to find this doctor so he can be cured. And this book is, I would like to say it's like it's not like fantasy, because there's no like so mad cow disease, you go through stages of hallucination and things of that nature. So he goes, you can see through this book, you can see his journey of going through these symptoms that are caused by the mad cow disease, and it's so interesting. Cameron's so sarcastic and so funny, and Gonzo is one of my favorite characters ever, like in any book. And also they meet this gnome, and he's like the perfect character. So it's like, it has a different elements of like realistic and hold on, I'm blurry. Why am I blurry? Okay. So it has different elements of like realistic and fantastical, because he's going through all these stages of the mad cow disease. But while you're reading it, you don't really know if it's real or not, because of just the way it's written, and it's just like, I think it's so well done, and I love the journey that they go through. And I recently reread this and like annotated some spots. Let me see if I can see. I don't know, I can't find them, but like I've highlighted some of my favorite like one-liners, and just made notes, and then just talking about all the parts I love. So yeah, Going Bovine, the first one, my absolute favorite book of all time. And not enough people know about this, or not enough people have read this or the Diviner series, because the Diviner series is pretty long, but this book is fairly long, 470 pages. So, but it goes by so quickly. So that's why this is my number one choice for books you need to read that you probably haven't already. The second book on this list is Killing Sahara, not sure how it's pronounced, by J.A. Redmersky. I don't have a physical copy of this book, which is sad. I keep putting it on my cart, and I don't know why, I just don't buy it. But Ginger Reads Laney, she mentioned it on her channel, and this is how I know of the book. But basically it's in the series is called In Company of Killers, and it's the books themselves are pretty short. They're really not longer than 200 pages, and basically it follows Sahari, I can't pronounce her name, and the whole book is surrounded by assassins type gangs. There's some romance, which is really, really good. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I'm not explaining it right because I haven't read it in a while and I should reread it. But I think the series is incredible. So if you really enjoy like gang elements, assassin elements, not like the fantasy like Throne of Glass assassin, more like a hold on. More like mobs type books, then I think you really enjoy this. As Sahari starts off as basically a sex worker in Mexico, and you follow her journey as she's in there. And the main guy in the story, the love interest, well, he's not really the love interest. They hate each other at first, so that's another good element. But yeah, so you follow them and how she wants to, escape that life, and how the guy, the love interest, or the guy she hates, is sort of in this mob gang element, and you can see how they connect and things like that. I don't know. So all the books follow mostly Sahara, but the other books in the series follow different characters that you meet throughout the series. So it's really, really good. If I didn't explain it good enough, I'm sorry. You can check out Ginger Reads Laney's. She talks about it in the Smudathon, her 2018 Smudathon TBR, or books you should read for Smudathon, or something like that. So yeah, you should check that out and definitely put this book on your list. Alright, the third book that you need to read that you probably haven't read already is The House of Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. And look at all these awards. So basically, I read this book probably like in 8th grade, and for some reason it stuck with me, and I reread it probably like 3 times. I love this story. And it never gets old. For me, at least, it never gets old. So basically, the story is about a young boy named Mateo, who was basically, he wasn't born, he was cloned, and he has the DNA of this man called El Patron, who's like the lord of the country that they live in, which is supposed to be like Mexico, I believe, but they name it Opium. So yeah, so it follows Mateo and how, he is looked at differently in the family that he's raised around, and how he just sort of tries to overcome that. He's not looked at as a boy in the family's eyes because he was cloned, but he also goes through these emotions of a real person. So it's really interesting. He's just struggling to understand where he exists in the world and society, and he goes through a lot of different troubles because he's basically has a DNA of the Lord that that's in that community, and so he has a lot of privileges, and a lot of people don't like that because they don't think he's human, and it's just really crazy. This is another book I still have not reread in 2018, but I really want to. This book has been out for a long while too. I think, I don't know when it came out. Oh, 2002. So this book has been out for a while, and I feel like not enough people talk about this. Maybe because it is older book, but I don't know. I think it's fantastic. I think there's moral things that we can learn through this book, just how treating human beings and family and friendships and things of that nature. So yeah, so it's just following Mateo's journey and just how to treat human beings even if they're different than you. So yes, read this book. It's amazing. And you can see little Bruno down there. He's joining me for this video. So the next book I'm going to be showing you is not really a novel. It is a play, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Obviously, I love this book. I love this play. This is I'm a theater major, communications, media, and theater major. So I've read a lot of plays, and I think plays are so amazing. I don't think not enough booktubers talk about plays. Obviously, because it's not generally looked at as a novel because it's a play. But there's so many fantastic plays out there with amazing stories, and yes, not enough people talk about it. But I know many people know about A Raisin in the Sun, but still, maybe they have saw the movie or seen the actual play live, but reading it, this book has so many messages about just equality, about the struggles of Black Americans. Even if this talks about African Americans in the 1950s, it still relates to America today. So I feel like many people need to read this book, learn from the lessons that learn and understand the struggles of African Americans then and now, because it still relates to now. And yeah, it's just this play is fantastic. It's amazingly written, and I think that's why it still can correlate to today's society. Yeah. So yeah, Raisin in the Sun, read it. If you would like more recommendations of plays, I have many that I can recommend you guys. Just leave a comment down below and I'll tell you. Or I make an actual whole video about it. So yeah. But yeah, Raisin in the Sun, on your list, 2019. The next book on my list is actually a book I read this year for one of my English classes that I took this past year. And it is called Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. Can't pronounce it. But yes, this story was just amazing. Basically, this follows 3 different generations of Greek American families. It follows the grandma, the mother, and then the daughter, whose name is Callie, but who transitions into Cal. So basically, it's a story of just the 3 generations of Greek Americans, and you follow the women, the different struggles they go through in each generation, and how that kind of flows into the family, how it flows into the other family members. Towards the end, you kind of follow more closely about Cal's transition. And yeah, I thought this was so interesting. So I had to read this for class, and so I got to have more discussions on it, like close discussions on this book. But this book, I felt the narrative of each generation, each speaker was so amazing, so clear. Even though it is a hefty book and the font is pretty tight, I felt I flew by this, and each story was just so inspiring, and just coming from nothing, a tiny village this family came from, the grandma came from, that was being attacked, and then coming to America, learning everything new, and then translating that to your family and your children and your children's children, and how it all differs in different generations. So yeah, I don't know. This book, so Middlesex is basically the title itself. You can, while you read, you figure out, okay, there's a middle between just female and male. There's that unclear line of what it means to be female, what it means to be male. So that, yeah, this book needs to be on everyone's list because of, that the diverse narrative of transgender people and just LGBTQ voices. I don't think Jeffrey Eugenides' own voices. I don't think he's in that realm of LGBTQ. I should have looked it up, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. But yeah, this story does tell a story of a person who is Middlesex in that sense. So yeah, add this to your list. if you want to diversify your reading experiences in 2019. Another book that you should add to your list if you want to diversify your reading is Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows. And I had this book in my last video that I uploaded, and I just finished it 2 days ago, I believe, and it was so good. I was not I was expecting it to be really well done, but I did not expect to connect to the voice and the speakers in this story. This book follows Nikki, who is a daughter of Indian immigrants, and basically she's considered a modern Indian in the community, in the Sikh community, Sikh community. So she doesn't do the traditional marriage when they set up marriages. So she works at a bar, and she wants to do, something more fulfilling in life. And so she sees this advertisement for an English writing class. And so she signs up to be the teacher. And she finds out that mostly widows are signing up. And none of them know how to write or read because, in that community, women are not seen to, their job is not to write or read, or they're there to provide for the family and clean and whatnot. So you learn that these women just want to write erotic stories and just want to talk about erotic stories. So it was funny in that sense that you kind of like, this title itself says erotic stories, but I personally was not expecting to be like, actual erotic stories, but there are actually erotic stories in there. So it's like a fun little part of the book to read and just read their stories. But also this book has very strong feminist messages, just how women want to be treated, how women want their voices to be heard. And I think that that part of the book is so important, and so important for others to read books about women that that have power, regardless if it's erotic stories or just a general message about their life. So yeah, this book was incredible. That's why I'm recommending it now, even though I just finished it 2 days ago. But yeah, the last book that I'm going to recommend is probably one of my favorite books alongside Going Bovine. This book is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I saw this recommended by Books and Lala, Kayla from Books and Lala, maybe 2 years ago, and that's when I started really getting into thrillers. And so I picked this up, and basically the premise is a man who's getting a divorce with his wife meets this woman in the airport, and basically she convinces him to kill his wife. And that's all I'm going to say, because there's so many twists and turns in this book. The writing is so fantastic. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, or whatever, edge of your bed, wherever you're reading it. But yeah, so this book, I couldn't put this book down. I remember reading it in like 2 days. And anytime anyone asks for recommendations for books, this is usually the first book I say, you need to read this. You need to read this, and you need to get shooketh. Can't believe I just said that. You need to get shooketh. That's basically what this book, made me feel. So yeah, definitely pick this book up if you're more of a thriller reader. I definitely love thrillers, so this is one of my favorite thrillers of all time. Alright, that's all the books for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you add all these books onto your reading list of 2019. And let me know if you do read this, or if they are on your list, and we can talk about it, and I can, we can talk about how much you love it or hate it, whatever, just let me know. And thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye!